Okay, I thought I would record some books for you to listen to since I can't be there. And I do better with a live audience, so I have Miss Bunny and Mickey Mouse, and they'll be sitting here on the floor listening to me. And today, the story I'm going to read is Miss Nelson is Missing. It's a very old book, but I love it. And it's by Harry Allard and James Marshall. So here's a picture again, and I'll show you the pictures. Miss Nelson is missing. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. Oh my, I hope you're not in one of those classes. Now settle down, said Miss Nelson sweetly. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and they made faces. Look at all those kids misbehaving. They were even rude during story hour. That child is not paying attention. And they refused to do their lessons. Something will have to be done, said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. Wow, yelled the kids. Now we can really act up. They began to make more spitballs and paper planes. Today, let's just be terrible. Not so fast, hissed an unpleasant voice. Those are the kids being terrible. But they hear an unpleasant voice. It stopped them in their tracks. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp. She rapped the desk with her ruler. Where's Miss Nelson? Asked the kids. Never mind that, snapped Miss Swamp. Open those arithmetic books. Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. That's the new teacher. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. Look at all their work they're doing. We'll have no story hour today, said Miss Swamp. Keep your mouths shut, said Miss Swamp. Sit perfectly still, said Miss Swamp. If you misbehave, you'll be sorry. There she is. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by, and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. I think they're looking out the window, seeing if they can find her. They're sure wishing their nice teacher was back. Maybe we should try to find her, said the kids. Some of them went to the police. Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmog would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. They got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by sharks, said one of the kids. But that did not seem likely. Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. I know, exclaimed one know-it-all. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of butterflies. But that seemed the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. "Here comes the witch," they whispered. "Hello, children," said someone in a sweet voice. It was Miss Nelson. "Did you miss me?" she asked. "We certainly did," cried all the kids. "Where were you?" "That's my little secret," said Miss Nelson. "How about a story hour?" "Oh, yes," cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. See them all watching? What brought about this pleasant change?" said Miss Nelson. "That's our secret," said the kids. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. "I'll never tell," she said in a sweet voice. Look at the ugly black dress hanging in there. Where do you think Miss Nelson went? I have an idea. P.S. Detective McSmog is now working on a new case. He's looking for Miss Viola Swamp. I hope you enjoyed my story. I'll be back later with another one. Bye-bye. Bye, Braden. Bye, Eleanor. Bye, Henry and Daisy, if you get to listen in too. Love you.